Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Omega Given here. We're gonna have to do a little audio check here. Audio check, audio check. Hello, hello. Okay, we sound good. Alright, guys. We're gonna pick up what we left off yesterday. But of course, like always, Scrum, whatever, I don't know, kind of styling, we're going to check in to exactly what we're doing, where we're going, and all that goody stuff of our project we've been doing. So like everyone else that has followed, or like, whatever, we've been working on, I just realized I need to let me go to the thing, my responsibility, crap, it's my wife texting me already. No, okay, good. Alright, let me open up my waterfall terminal. Alright, we got 20 issues. Okay, so yesterday we were focusing a little bit on the input command line section, but mainly it's more of like the UI things I think we were building. We're kind of just trying to figure out how to start architecting a little bit of like how this stuff actually, like, you know, works basically. Let me pull up draw.io. I think this thing saves. Yeah. Selected as a continue editing. Yes. So yeah, this is kind of what we drew up last night or whatever when we were like live streaming last night. Basically, it's more of like this. We built this focus pointer, a very rough sketch of the focus pointer. We'll have to build this later on, but we got keys coming in, focus and pointer, and then we'll have to have input, like text input boxes and stuff like that. So we're going to need to do, I think, the text input box today, where we take an input, when press enter, runs that command, and so on and so forth. And then we need to be able to parse that command stuff, and that's where we might have to go back and revisit how to recompile Godot, but with some more modules that might help us along the way. So I'm going to put that off to the side. We're going to go to our area. Actually, I'm just gonna open up from like my one thing right here. So we're gonna open up Godot, our compiled Godot version, because we need the goodies of Godot. And waterfall terminal UI. Here we are. All right, so here we are. We made the focus manager yesterday, where basically when you run, you can press tab and it focuses on something that can do that, and press enter, or so on and so forth. I don't know. So, or wait, when I do that and press enter. Interesting. So pressing enter twice puts it back naturally. That's an interesting little thing. All right, but today we want to get this input line that we have here in our little viewer thing. We want to get it to actually kind of do more of the things we want it to do. What is it that we want it to do? We want it to fill, I don't know. Do we like... I feel like we need to get functionality started, right? We need to build out some functionality of things before we do basically anything else. So I'm going to pull up some AI, because AI just helps you in speed so much, just like trying to get things going and whatnot. Also, what the flip is this like? Oh, that's the HBox container. I can't remember how you get this thing to get larger. We'll need to figure out how to get it larger. We'll probably do that more programmatically at some point. But alright, Godot, I have a module called terminal that takes a command and sends it to command line, then returns output. How do I get my, well, I'm trying to do how do I get my input text box to take the text in it and submit it to that command. All right, so we're gonna have that. It's probably gonna be a script in here that we're gonna have to build out, so that'll be a thing. So right now, these are just old testy things. That's what we have here in the base here that shows us stuff. Tomorrow approved input box. Okay. So we're gonna have a line edit node for username. So we're gonna start with line edit. We're actually gonna have to overwrite this line edit into a completely different thing later on, but we need to get our commands working first of all. So we have line edit mode, a button node to submit the command, a submit button, a label or a text edit node to enter an output. I don't want a submit button, but instead when I press enter, it submits. Yeah, we want it to just submit when we press enter. Alright, so we're going to extend, okay, step by step, no submit button. Okay, in Godot you can use the text submitted signal from the line edit node to trigger your command submission, then enter when enter is pressed. Here's how we wire it up. Okay, sweet. So we're going to do this. Okay, we're going to do func. Actually, why don't we just save ourselves some time, right? Do a function. I'm going to just copy the sections that we need. So on the input submit command string. So basically we're going to take the input command, strip edges, can is not equal to 0, var, we're going to call this, I think I wonder if we want to just do a terminal like in the background, just up here. We might need, we'll probably edit this around a little bit later on, so, but we're going to take this and we're going to call this term right here. Then we're going to want var result output.text, wait, what are we doing here? Output.text equals result. Result is that. We can probably get rid of this var right here because we have this as a global. Yes, I think that's decentish. Whatever is your root, extends line edit. So text submitted only fires when line edit has editable equals true and clear button equals false. Ah, I see. So actually this is more of, it's making me build a different function now. I can look at how this, so how this AI is basically having me build it out is it basically wants me to create a global script that's like a handler of the diff. So maybe we do that. Maybe we do make a new script. This new script is going to be input controller. I think input controller. I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to get an input controller. Did I just do underscore? Wait, did I just naturally just rename that to be like underscored, like not camel case? I don't know. That's weird. I need to like almost go back and look at that. What did I just do? Input controller. Yeah, I want it to be all caps. All right, we're gonna copy and paste this thing. All right. We probably want to add a new node here. It's gonna be some kind of output display. Why don't we just do text something? Text edit. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Something like that. So let's do. So output display will be text edit, and then input box is going to be line edit. So this is basically mapping it such that this is this, and then this is that. I believe that's how that works. Or preload. We got the terminal.new terminal. Okay. Or whatever. Right. Yeah, we don't need these comments. These are pretty self-explanatory comments. Okay. On input, it takes in command string, strips it. I might want to see what it's like without it being stripped. It might be interesting to see how that works. Okay, if it's not equal to 0, then we're gonna result command output equals result, and then clears the input after submission. Yes. Let's just check that out. See if, oh wait, we need to load this up into our project. So let's load it up, go to the globals, add, we want to add input, input controller, that. We're going to add it as a global. All right, invalid access to proprietary property or key. text submitted on a base object of type null instance. Okay, so it's not sensing. Input controller. Text edit is not found. Okay. Okay. Using the key entered in Godot, you can use the text emitted signal from the line edit node to trigger your command submission when enter is pressed. Clear button enabled equals false. Wait, what is this? Text editable and clear button is false. Okay, that's false. If your terminal module is singleton autoload, you can access it directly via the run command without instantiating it. We do instantiate here though. Want to make it feel more terminal-like with history. Okay, so we need to have this text submitted. Input box.textsubmitted.connect on input submitted. And so it's not finding my on input. It's not finding my input box. Input box as null. How do I link it to my line edit? Yeah, we gotta get this thing linked to the line edit thing. Okay. Node naming. Make your line edit node is actually named input box in the scene tree if it's node is actually named input box. Wait. I wonder. Is it really named input box? Let me run that again. No, that's not. See, AI, you're lying to me. You're lying to me, AI. That is not true. What I want to do is have it be this one. And then this is this one. Now let's try that. Text submitted on object is fault. What? You can also get node if you prefer. Let's try this get node thing. Node.get node. This is not exactly how get node works. Gosh, I can't remember how half this stuff works. I think I understand what's going on. I think this is preloading this script. And this script is loaded before all these nodes are loaded. So we need to have this script run after things are loaded or be able to pick things up. I have my input controller script run as a global, so it runs before rendering of nodes. How do I have it pick up the nodes? Specifically, it can reference the focus manager where I put new nodes that in a list. So I think what we can do, since focus manager is enumerating things in this focusables list, maybe we can target it that way, because you can see we have put nodes in that list. So maybe we can just be like, hey, input controller, check that, and then go off of that. So input box is more dynamic. Like this is more of a dynamic little input thing that we can basically do. I'm guessing that's kind of what we want to do more. How do we do that? How do we do said thing? I think we do focus. So focus manager dot how are we doing this? We want to do focus manager dot focusables. Can I just like focusables current index? Can I have a variable that literally is the node? I want to do like current node, like something like that. So basically, so if node not in focus append, if focusables array set input process. Wait, what is this? Set input process. I can't remember. What does that do? Oh, okay, enables inputting. Okay. If event is blah blah impressed. If the key is blah blah blah, if key dash shift, cycle focus true, cycle focus is cycle focus. If cycle focus size equals 0, return if backwards current index, blah 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 blah. Var node focusables. Node.grab focus. If node dot has method on focus, node dot. I feel like right here is where we set that global current node equals node. I think that's how we do that, right? That way we can kind of use this as a global node that we are accessing around and around or whatever. I think that's what we can do. So then we can do this, but got the little dot current node. Input text about the submitted text dot connect input text. On input submitted. This is only achieved by this connection point. How do we, I'm trying to think of how we do this, because like that doesn't quite work the way we want it to. I need to like keep a running script. Can I like, is there a new folder, new script, new blah blah blah? I think I need to keep some kind of running terminal or kwrite, I don't know, something. Is this a thing we can use? I need like a place that we can like take notes to be able to pass into our UI or our AI, so it understands a little further on what we're trying to do. Let me give this a shot where I'm gonna go here. This is instruction dot that. Here, we're gonna make a new file here, new text file. It's gonna be called AI project context. Basically, I think in this file, we're gonna kind of keep a running tally of things in a simplified way, so we can, when we ask AI stuff, we can just copy and paste this. Have a Godot project. I am trying to make a terminal emulator in Godot, where currently I have a focus manager, which allows us to tab through and set a current focus node. I've got to go close my door. Give me a second. And turn my fan on. It's freaking hot. It's getting hot. Okay. Okay, I'm trying to make a terminal in Godot. Currently, I have a focus manager, which allows us to tab through, let's say, a current focus node. This node can be a input line or a directory button or anything else. I want to have a input controller that when I am on a, what is it? I'm on a tab node or on a input node like a input line and I press enter, it does X action. How would I grab from my global script focus manager and tell if we are on a node that can do that and actually do the action? Okay, I think that's kind of like what we're trying to go for, right? I think that's what we're trying to go for. I'm going to keep this thing running as like a thing that I can add to / modify so we can easily just tell the AI basically the context. You know, trying blah 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 blah. Check if current focus is a node that supports submission. All right. If you've set focus manager as an autoloaded singleton, you can access it like this. Yeah, I know how to do that. Check node type or capability. If focus node and node has submitted blah blah blah. If you use line edit, you want to simulate enter behavior. If focus node is line edit, var command node that's strip edges, run terminal run command, display result focus clear. If event is input event key and event pressed and event dot key code equals enter. So this is having me, so this is, the AI is kind of like giving me something like this right now. So unhandled input. This one's more of a direct tie. It tries to find that and ties it, which I would like. I feel like that's a little bit more stable. This is more open-ended. But maybe that's the thing we gotta do. If event is input event key and event dot pressed and event dot key code. How are we doing this? Event dot key code, yeah. Equals entry key. Var focus node equals focus node dot current focus. Current node is actually what it's called. If focus node and blah blah blah, the space entered for indentation. I hate this thing, how it just like, we like tabs. Tabs are nice. I'm like, screw you. Why do we need to have tabs all the time? Space enter indentation of tab blah blah blah. Wait, line 20. Use space character for indentation instead of tab. What? What are you talking about? There's no indentation. What are you talking about? Yeah, you use spaces between characters and tabs outside. Like, what the frick? What? What is Godot smoking? It's just like, nah, we're not gonna let you do that. I'm like, screw you. Like, I want you to do it. Just do it. I have to think the architectural behind this. Use space for. Is it, if I just do Control X and then Control Shift V. Wait, what? What the frick? Apparently my computer doesn't let me do Control Shift V. That is really stupid. Watch this. If focus node and focus node dot has method submit why? Oh my freaking gosh, this editor is so stupid. If I just run it, is it just no? It's like, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. It's like, these are all tabs. You want tabs. What, like, what does it want me to do? Use space character for indentation instead of tab, as used before in the file. It says line 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 38, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52. That what? Oh my freaking gosh. Like, this is what peeves me off about, like, sometimes these things. Freaking just white space issues. What the frick is with white space issues right now? No white space. No invalid white spaces here. What do you want me to do? What? Are you freaking kidding me? Are you kidding me? That was it? That was the white space issue? Gosh, I freaking hate these editors. Alright. Okay, I think... Okay, I think we got that. So it's submitted, or it's maybe submitting. I don't know if it is or not. I don't submit it. Focus mode dot submit. We need to come up with a submit functionality in this, in the one thing though. I see you're making progress. Yes, we are making a little bit of progress. We're actually finally coding. We're actually doing the good work. All right, so we need to create a line edit thing so that this input box. Where's the text edit? I need like this text. Just throw this text edit right there for now. All right, we need to get this on submit. So func on sub. What do we call it? if focus mode has method submit. Okay, we just need a submit function. So, like, this is all gonna get overwritten, but might as well. We just want to get the input to output ratio and like our input box and the output box to have something. Indentation expected after block after. I really hate Godot's IDE sometimes. It's just very like, can you please just underline the little area that actually is the issue? But like, if I just do returns, fine. But it's like, come on. Okay. We want to do self dot clear. Now that'll be at the end. We need to do terminal dot run command, and then we want to get self dot. How do you get the text? Wait, what's the text called? Line edit? It's literally just called text, right? Self.text. Yeah, self.text. And then we need to do result equals that. How are we handling this over in our input controller? So if event is if focus node and focus node has method submit, focus node does submit. So we want to tie. I just hear my baby screaming downstairs. I kind of wonder if I need to end live stream early. We'll do it in our live stream later on or something. It was a really short nap. It was like barely 45 minutes, and no, it's probably an hour. It was probably an hour. This focus node. Wife got baby taken care of right now though. Okay, focus node does submit. Okay, so we are able to submit using controller. Do we, in our diagram, do we want this to handle the input output, or do we want the focus pointer to handle the input output? I kind of want to keep all of that functionality to these two areas right here, the input pointer and the keyboard, or like the, I call this the controller, and the input controller, and this would be the focus manager. But how would you architecturally do that? If you, like we have, so these are two global scripts that just processes enter. All this input controller is doing right now is processing the enter and just submitting enter button. But I can easily do a lot of that logic right here as well. And I just do like a command line editor right here, or a command line handler right here in the input controller, bringing or taking a lot of the logic from the line edit. I gotta think, what do I want the different bubble objects that I'll make in the future to handle versus what I want my input handler to handle? Basically, I envision let me think here. So I envision basically the input box. So the input box, actually I don't want that one. I want the rectangles. I like rectangles. So over here, let's just like zoom in and be like, okay, so we got the input box is tied to an output box. The properties that these will hold are the input text, that's a property that has, which is literally the direct text of that input. Or wait, no, we don't want that. We want text. The output is going to be the output text. Well, other things, the input box I want to handle. I think the input box, okay, the input box actually has a couple things inside of it. The input box is built of a directory module and a input line module, which is the line edit one that we're doing. We'll get the more input box later on, but I just want to try to capture what kind of things I'm handling and where I want to put these things. So the input box handles the directory module, the input line module. The output box handles. So okay, so it's gonna have the input text, which is the input line text. Directory module is gonna be the directory text, directory location text. So it's gonna have like those two things. So input box, and all of this is gonna be overarching over top of. Or actually, can I send this to back? Send to back. This is all gonna be overarching over what do we call it? Let's call it the command bubble. Let's call it the command bubble. We'll just denote it. It's going to be called the command bubble. So the command bubble is going to be a object that contains a input box, which contains a directory module, a input line module, and an output box. And then it also contains the output box, which contains. I feel like we're going to need some pointers here in the future, but for now, all this will contain is literally just the output line module. I think that's like the only thing we really need to have, and that will have the property of output text. Gosh darn it, it's not. I want to like link it in line with that almost, but whatever. Okay, so that's, I think, kind of the structure we want to form with this. So we got the command bubble. It has the input box, the output box, and underneath the input box you have an input directory module, input line module, output box, output line module. So how do we reference this stuff? Basically, I think how we're going to reference this is the focus pointer will reference here. I'm going to delete that. That's our v1. This is our v1 now. I think we'll do a v2 later on, but crap. I need all this to stay together. Okay, so the focus pointer is going to have a reference to a command bubble. Oof, no. Command bubble separate. The focus pointer is going to have a reference, a loose reference, to literally a reference, or like this is something completely separate. It's going to have reference to a specific node. The command bubble is more than just a specific node, because the command bubble is an overarching class, and because we need to reference this input box right here, or the input line module specifically, so we can reference the overall like this one, or the command bubble as a whole, but we don't want to reference the input box as a whole. So that's kind of just a helper parent of these two modules. But this module we want to be as its own entity. That the command bubble is going to probably need some things because we want to be able to delete the command bubble or do something with it. Nino, you say perhaps you could use output box to handle rendering too. You could use output box to treat text as it consists of sprites, but output box shows sprite animations from OSU as you delete text. Yeah, you're exactly right on. I think so. That's gonna be the character. Input characters and focused. I think like the whole text box, quote unquote, that we're working with is we're gonna work with currently Godot's text boxes, but I think we're gonna have to rebuild those from the ground up at some point when we actually get the functionality of like actual terminal in here. So you are actually right on. If input characters and focus is in the input box, generate sprite characters text object. I think we don't even need that reference. This character processor is going to be a backend function that we do, which has a property or inputs output. So it takes in, input controller text, and then it takes out, or it puts out this is going to be a custom. Oh my gosh, I just realized what this is, how we're going to have to build this. This is going to be a C++ module we're going to have to make, I think. So it takes in input controller text, aka just typing text. It inputs that, or if you want to reference something for focus pointer, maybe map what you need and point focus pointer to what you map. Focus pointer can index it and call it needed. Yeah, I think I have it built such that it kind of does that. So I think we're good on that front. We'll of course there's gonna be a lot of editing later on. I'm just trying to understand the architectural point of like how we want to build certain things, because sometimes I could just go ham and code, but sometimes you just have to sit down and just think through the architecture of where you want to end up, so you don't have to go and rewrite things 100 times over. It's just like, this is like maybe a 2 or 3 time rewrite rather than 10 time rewrite. Hi, Doggo. My doggo wants attention. Okay. I think Doggo hears baby downstairs crying, like having fun. Do you wanna join the party downstairs? I can open the door for you. Or do you want to join the stream? Do you want to join this live stream? You want to tell me how we do Godot scripting to like do input and output boxes, how we want them to do, huh? You have the mic. All right, let me go put the dog out and play with the baby and stuff. Go. You're gonna go and play with the baby. Go. All right, give me a second. I don't know why I have my headset on, to be honest. I think it's more to focus. It kind of tunes out the world so I can focus here a little bit better. All right, so the output box is going to render, or it's going to be it outputs a sprite object. I'm just gonna call it a sprite output. A character sprite object. Character text sprite object. I kind of just like thinking in my mind, I'm like, I can't call it a character sprite object because in gaming, a character sprite object would literally be a singular character. This is a text sprite object, like a string sprite object. Because we're rebuilding how strings work in Godot. We're rendering strings. We're rendering the visual aspect of a string differently. On the back end, I think we're still going to be the same thing, where it's going to be like a rendered string has the text underneath it, which we're executing on and doing stuff with. But what the person sees up front is actually just sprites. That's basically what's going to be happening. All right. I think we got this enough that this is referencing a specific node. I think we want to make the input controller handle the logic of how these different modules operate. No, or do we want those? do we just want the input controller to pass through commands and text and whatnot to objects, and those objects handle that stuff? Or would it be better that those objects just tell the input controller what they are, so the input controller then like executes on that? That's like the two different things. I think let's think about it such that these input boxes should be tied to a terminal object, because this is a terminal object actually, or a terminal object would be built in a input box. I think we want the terminal object to be in here. Let me add that here. I think we want the terminal object, aka input output, because there's going to be the separate, like there's the Godot input output, but then there's the terminal object input output. The terminal object is basically the new module that we're building on the back end of on Godot itself, not in Godot, but on Godot. Like we compile it into Godot, like so Godot actually can handle that stuff. But that just still leaves the question: do we want to handle that here or here? I think it makes more sense that we handle it in here. But that means we have to pass through commands through here, rather than just handling the commands right here. I think let's do the easy way right now and handle it in the controller, because I think controller, that's the easy way to handle it. I just see that is going to become like 1,000 line long controller. Like it's gonna be 1,000 lines of just like, hey, if it's input box, handle this executions like this. If it's this box, handle executions like this, and it goes on so forth. When it's like that could be just handled on the object side, and it doesn't have to go through all those if statements because the object knows what it is, so it handles the stuff as so. Actually, yeah, that does sound a lot better. Like functionally, execution wise, I feel like that's faster. You can just use input box to capture keystrokes and send it to output box to render what you type. So we don't necessarily want to do that necessarily. So that's what the input controller is all about. Is that's what's supposed to capture inputs and outputs. Ooh, wait. Or we gotta think more gaming. In gaming terms, no, because you can program a game in one of two ways that I know of, at least. One where, so say you're playing a game where you have a character that you move the character around using a controller or a actual physical controller. So that character is being moved around when you handle it. But that can handle in one of two ways. One where those inputs are handled on that character itself, and that character is basically focused. Like that's the focus node. So that when you click escape on that character, it unfocuses that character, goes out to the main menu. Now you're focusing on the main menu, which handles the inputs and outputs on the main menu. But if you forget to unfocus the character, then you're actually moving the character and the menu at the same time. So that's where it gets confusing when you handle the inputs and stuff like that on specific objects, rather than the second way of doing it, which is you have a overall controller, and that controller just references a specific object and controls, like externally, it controls that object's movement. It's like it's a global controller. So that's the two ways you can build things oftentimes in gaming. When it comes to RTS point and clicks, that's a whole different ball game. I don't know how that works, but I know that's two ways that you can learn or you can try programming a video game, and I'm they both have their goods and bads. The goods of handling all that input on a specific character, on a specific module of some sort, is you can be very specific. On the external sense, Actually, which one's better execution time? I want execution time being faster. Which one? I imagine the module handling itself is faster, because on the external module, it has to go through a bunch of if statements and stuff to know what it's trying to do to that module specifically. So I think like it's very minutely difference in speed, but I wonder if that would be a difference in that speed. Let me ask AI. Which is faster in the Godot engine for performance of controller input? A character module, a character handling input commands, or a controller module that handles a specific character. I think that there's like the two ways of putting it, right? I think that I don't know the terminologies. So this drives into the architecture of input handling Godot and how you can structure. Okay, so your approach is character handling input commands, and then controller module handling a specific character. Each character has its own logic to interpret and execute input commands. A centralized input controller interprets input and delegates to the focused character. All right, so performance slightly heavier. Oh wait, what? Character handling input? Slightly heavier. It may if many characters are active and pulling input. Pros, modular characters specific behavior. Cons can lead to duplication logic and harder global specific control. Exactly. That was the main con that I didn't like about that type of stuff. So generally faster, more scalable, centralized logic, easier to manage focus and input, requires clean delegation and focus tracking. Why the controller module is usually faster. Less polling, only one module listens for input. That would do it right there. Only one module listens for input, rather than every character checking at every frame. Better batching, you can optimize input handling in one place, debounce, ignore focus awareness. You can easily switch control between characters or UI elements without rewriting logic. Okay, I think this basically tells us that we really should be doing the controller module rather than handling on a specific character. So I think that ends the argument. I think that makes a lot more sense, and it like helps solidify my understanding of what we should be doing. So we should do that input controller. So we have a focus controller and input controllers, which are kind of hand in hand doing the same thing, or doing two tasks that could be the same thing, but I just want to separate them out a little bit just to make it easier for myself. Okay, now that we have that in place, we need to do said thing. So how do I apply the controller logic such that when I type, when a input box is in focus, that it passes that input to the text module to display? Let's do that. You'll need GPU batching as well. I don't know exactly how batching really works, to be honest. I think that's going to be a step later on when I have to look at more efficiency. Right now, we're just looking at architectural efficiency rather than specific thing like a specific efficiency of like all the different things stacked up together. So we're just looking at the main architecture. I'll worry about that later. Good thing to note. I'll put that at the back burner. Okay, to make your controller logic pass input from a focus line edit or custom to a text module for display, you'll want to combine your focus manager with a centralized input that listens for key events and delegates them based on. Okay, yeah, I screwed all that. Okay, global input attach this to a node that's always active, like your root controller or a dedicated. Okay, okay. Unhandle event. We kind of did that before. Here, let me pull up my script stuff. So we got input controller. We kind of have that unhandled input. So basically it's like, hey, yo, we got input event coming in. So if the event is a entry key, it does if it submits that. If the focus node has a submit button, it'll submit it. So that it kind of like handles that. So like those modules will be submitted. But now we need to handle just plain text, basically. If event is input and is pressed. Here, let me copy and paste this over here so we can like kind of look at it together. So event is input key and event is pressed. So we already covered that. If event is pressed, so that's that logic right there. Var focus manager of focus. We already do that basically using this thing. If focus node is line edit, handle enter. Does this automatically? Line edit, submit. It runs terminal. Result equals terminal.run text. Self.clear, and then return result. Yeah, why not? Here, let's delete this. We don't need this anymore. I think we want results to be separate. We don't want to have like a global variable result because I feel like the result's always going to be overwritten. So we want a new result every single time, and then later on when we start inputting history in here, we'll probably throw this to some kind of history thing. We'll like put like a like input history here, input history keeping thing here. So we'll do that later on. I think that's what we're gonna do. Yeah. All right. So all right. So let me see here. We're gonna let's set up this unhandled input thing to do a heck ton of stuff. So if this so we're gonna set this because we're gonna mess with this a bunch. Actually, never mind. We don't want to keep doing that whenever there's input handle. We want to do that underneath this. We want to, whenever there is a input event, we will then proc for that. Then we'll do the if event. Then if that is, if focus node and focus node has method submit method. Okay, so that's step one. We don't need this because we did that before. But now, if focus load is line edit, oh wait, no, that's basically the same thing as this. I kind of like this though, because this says plainly what this action is, more than just has submit. Unless we want to handle those things. Every single module is going to have its own submit button. Or its own submit functionality. Every single module we work with. Whether it be a button, because it's submitting that whatever that button's supposed to do, or if it's a text thing, because oftentimes when you have a text thing and you press enter, it's going to execute that text onto the command line. The only thing that won't have submit would be a output thing, because we don't want to submit from output, because that just doesn't do anything, or shouldn't do anything. I think I like this logic though, where we check if the key is enter, then what do we do? What do we do with the enter key? If it has a submit, we submit it. and then we let the module itself take it from there. Yes. I think that's right. I think we like it that way. Because then, oh, whoops. Then we're going to have a bunch of these things. This is for all like the different like chunk of stuff that we got to do. Oh, return result. So we hello, Yash. Salnal? Salnal? I'm not sorry if I'm butchering your last name there. Hello, Yash, though. How you doing? All right. I almost think before we even go on, we need a way for us to tie this line edit in with this. So I think this is where we need to start creating our bubble objects. No, Indian. Just call me Yash. Okay. All right, Yash. So I think we need to create our bubble object now. I think that's just something we gotta do. We gotta create the bubble object. So I think what we're gonna do node. We're gonna call it. It's just gonna be plain node. I don't know. I think we might turn it into something else later on. I think or do we make it a control object? I want to rename this to be bubble object. Bubble. We want to put all of these underneath the bubble. The text, the output. We're gonna probably recreate these later on, but I need to do this like for my own sake almost. So this is gonna be output module. This is gonna be the input module. There's going to be a HBox container here because we're going to have more buttons in the future, but we'll worry about that later at some other point. Can I like make this larger? Give me a second. How do I layout? No. Can't remember how this stuff works. What are you working on basically? Build a terminal? Yeah, so we're building a terminal emulator in Godot because I want to do really fancy UI stuff that terminals don't normally do. And like all the things I want to do is basically what video games kind of do. So I'm like, I think I literally need to make this in literally a video game emulator. So that's why I kind of decided to do this in Godot. If you guys don't, if Nino, if you don't mind, I think you're the only other chatter in here. I'll just show him. So one of the big inspirations that kind of got me on like wanting to do something like this is basically I saw where is it? Downloads. Osu run. Yeah. All right. Let me mute that for a second. So in this game, there's a text thing, right? So, I need to sign in to do it right here. I just need to go to like this. So in the top right, pay attention to the top right thing here. I use Go, Rust, and Python for building CLIs. Yeah. So why I need a gaming engine is because of this one thing that I really want. In the top right here, if you pay attention, this typing, you see how like smooth and clean it is, and then that backspace. You see that backspacing? You see how that works? You can kind of simulate that in a terminal by doing by basically using new lines and like characters moving across new lines and then just delete. Like boom, 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 delete. Boom, 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 delete. But you can't control fading. You can't control in between lines, like literally the character dropping between lines. You can't control that. It's like the rendering of those things, because most other terminal emulators are trying to make it very streamlined. I'm building something that, yes, it's not efficient, but it's very beautiful. It is beautiful. So that's basically what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to build like that kind of thing. And how you do that, or how this game does it, is every single one of these characters is its own sprite. So basically, it's handling all these sprites, and you have so much control of the rendering of those characters. So you can't do that in a terminal. Like there's just like any terminal building emulator, like what is it, YT or something like that. There's a few things. They can't do that without crazy overhauls. But if you work in a game engine, you can do that. You just treat all the characters as sprites and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's kind of what we're building. Yeah. And you get what you understand. So that's why we're kind of working with this. But for starters, before we get to that whole sprite rendering thing, which we'll get to one day, I need to just build straight up input output. That's where I'm at. I'm still at the very beginning stages of it. But yeah, we're getting there. So right now I'm still trying to figure out the architecture of how I want to build these things out, because it is a UI. We're essentially just building a UI front end to a terminal. So I'm just trying to figure out how I want to elegantly put these together. It's very rudimentary prototyping right now, but I'm just trying to architecturally put this together. Like we literally have been working on just like how are we putting certain nodes, focus pointers, and then controllers to different command modules and whatnot. And so yeah, we're still working through all of that. It's a work in progress, of course. So yeah, that's where we're at. Right now, I think so. We want to put all of these in a bubble because I want to create every single input and output matched to itself. As my dog comes back into my room, I want it to match to itself, so that we can like kind of reference those objects and pull from those objects as we need fit. Because right now terminals, yeah, they only have like an input output line, and then you can kind of like scroll up, but you can't really grab output and input easily without just highlighting. I want to be able to like actually reference an object, grab those objects, throw them somewhere else, or do something with those objects. Like just treating the command line interface as a object, basically. My first major CLI project in a simple Python CLI. Yeah. My first major... Wait, so you like did a... yeah, so... I don't know. That's where we're trying to get. So I need to do... Right now, I need this input to result the output over into this module. So I have to put these all in its own container. I'm going to probably standardize this container at some point because we're going to create hundreds of these containers as we're, handling the thing. For database manager of knowledge bases. Oh gosh, database. That's my day job, handling stuff in database and searching databases. So, don't give me some PTSD of work. I'm trying to do fun stuff here, guys. No, I'm just kidding. You have fun there. But let me see if I can figure out how I can reference these things above it. So I need to reference its parent. How do we build? We need to basically create reference pointers within this object to all of the. It's self-aware of its family, basically. It needs to picture this line at it is a child of its parent, which is the bubble little module. We need it to be able to know its siblings and be able to throw stuff at its siblings, because we like throwing stuff at our siblings, right? So we gotta basically put this result to throw at our siblings. So how do you do that in Godot? I think, how do we do that? I think it's something like var output module equals self dot get. Is it like get tree or get parent? Get parent dot. Is there actually a function that just gets siblings? Because I see this, like, look at this, add sibling. I think that's sibling node. How does, how do you reference these things? Because I know you can like do that kind of a thing, but I don't know if that's how we want to reference it. Are you a database engineer? I was a back-end engineer at a bank earlier this year. I switched jobs recently. what would you classify me now? I am a guy that helps people build towards API endpoints. That's basically what I do. But in also doing, I also handle checking a lot of stuff in the database and providing data for people. That's like another subtask of what I do. I wouldn't call myself a database engineer specifically. I don't know crazy amounts of stuff about databases, like how to. I've built some SQLite databases, but like that's the essential complexity I've done, other than just handling other people's databases. That's kind of what I've done so far. For what you're trying to do, I know of one terminal emulator that might be able to do what you want, but can't say for sure. It's terminology built using Enlightenment libraries. I too, a backend developer in a way for a AI company, was hired as full stack, but only get backend. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. I would love that. That was funny. When I was interviewing for places and such, they're like, "We need a full stack developer." I'm like, "Do you need a full stack engineer, developer, whatever you want to call? Like, do you need that?" It's like, yes. It's like, what's the job? It's like, we're handling all this stuff in the database, and we need to get that to our customer. It's like, so you need a back-end developer, like a back-end, like I can be a back-end developer. That's my job. When you say full stack, you're talking about you need to build UIs and back-end stuff to be able to link to those UIs and put the data there. But your customers only just want the data in like reports. They don't need a UI. They don't need a website. You don't need a full stack developer. It's kind of funny. It's like when people are like, "We need this." It's like, no, you don't. No, you don't. You're adding complexity and pain for something. Because I feel like a full stack engineer probably should get paid more than like other people if they're literally doing the full stack. If you're doing the full stack, you should get paid more. I just think so. At least that's how I believe. All right, let me. I need to figure this out right here. What is the most efficient way and easiest way to reference a output sibling in Godot so we can push output onto them? I'm just asking AI to help me with this one. Yeah. All right, so this says we want to do relative path. No, that's not how I want to do it. Oh gosh, that's disgusting. What does it want me to do? It wants me to do like self. It wants me to do get parent, get node. Actually, it's literally doing what I'm doing right here. It's basically the exact same thing what I'm doing, except for it's just doing specifically get node. Well, what does get here? What does get sibling actually do? Wait, where is it? Get child, get children. Wait, I'm confused. Add sibling. What does add sibling do? Void add sibling. Can you give me the here? Add sibling adds a sibling node to this node's parent and moves the added sibling right below this node. If force readable name is true. Oh, so this creates a node like right off the. We don't want to create a node. We want to do we want to get node. Yeah, I think, or we just want to get child. Index of 1 if we want to do static, but we'll just do static for now, guys. I know it's bad programming etiquette of stuff, but we're gonna do static for now. So output. Get parent, get child 1. 1 is going to be this because we are 0 technically. Oh, we need to get parent, get parent. Get parent, get parent. Get parent dot get parent. Seriously? Okay, fine. Get parent dot get parent. We're going to go 2 up because we're right now in the input module. We need to go up to bubble, then go back down to output because this is object 0. All right, so we'll make this a lot cleaner later on. I feel like that looks horrible. Like that just is a horrible reference, but we're gonna work with it. All right, so we're gonna do. We want to output Frick. I need to get a better. I need to get a better keyboard. Output module dot. Wait, is this? Am I spelling things wrong? Output module, right? Normally it gives me like little things. When, oh, here we are. We're good. I think I was just spelling it wrong. Output module dot text. What does output module have? I think it's literally output module dot text. Okay, output module dot text equals result. Maybe this works. I don't know. Let's give it a try. Click run. No consequences. Oh, cannot call method get parent on a null value. Wait, what? Line edit number 4. Can't call get parent on a null value. How? Is it like the double get parent? Here, let me try this. Are we null? Hi, my name is Null. I don't know where I am or what I'm doing. All right. What is output module? What? Input implicit new cannot call method get child on a null value. Our parent is null? Or am I using get child wrong? What does get child do exactly? Hey, yo, Godot. Get child fetches a child node by its index. Each child has a index relative to its siblings. See get index. The first child is 0. Negative values also can be used to start from the end of the list. This method can be used to comment. Okay, get child count. Might need an at on ready because self isn't initialized. Oh, yeah. You're right. That sounds actually about right. Wait, how do you do those on readies? I always forget. Is it like at the beginning? You have to put like on ready right here or something like that. Frick, how do you do on readies? How to use on ready in Godot. I haven't programmed in Godot in like a year, so like it's been a while. On ready, yeah, you put in the beginning var blah 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 equals blah blah blah. Too few arguments for get child call. Oh, whoops. Yep, that'll do it. All right, yeah, let's try that now. Let's try that. Thanks for that. Calf beef. Yeah, hello. Thanks for that. Wait, let me see. Hey, so what's your dev stack and development areas? Like web dev or AI, ML, or system designs? For the past 3 years, I have been exclusively... I've worked a lot of DevOps in that I put out lots of fires for a big it was like a very vast architecture application of like, oh, it was just a mess. Like you got your Linux server over here doing random stuff with a lot of Python scripts and whatnot, then handling all the in-between queues to other servers that have a lot of Python stuff that takes in a bunch of data, throws that data to the database, handling what that data is going there, how we're formatting that data, then to push back to a customer. That's basically like kind of the stuff that I was doing. So it was like a back end with a lot of middleware of like trying to handle servers. So that's why I'm like, it might be DevOps. Would that be DevOps? Kind of. So it's back end with DevOps. And then on the side for fun, I have learned a little bit of UI stuff and like gaming, which is a lot of different types of UI. It's definitely a lot different than web dev. But yeah, that's kind of like the stuff. I think I'm it sounds like my wife might need assistance. Maybe she might need assistance. But yeah, so that's basically me in a nutshell. But this theoretically might work? Question mark. No, it's not working. What's going on? We need to probably add some print statements in here. Let's add some print statements. Let's print result here. Self.clear. So it's not actually triggering this. Focus manager, register focusable. We're focusing there. We get self. We want to basically set the text to equal result when submit happens. And then I don't know if we actually need that return result. No, you don't need that. Web dev plus AI stuff, pretty light. Oh wait, I'm just a plain dev with open source background. Fall into a good job with luck. Web dev plus AI stuff. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I did a few AI little project things just so I can understand how AI functions using contexts and blah blah blah, like all that kind of stuff. So that makes a lot more sense to me. I don't want to consider myself an AI developer until like I basically model my own AI. But the thing is, to build the actual AI like itself, you need graphics cards like aplenty. I have one good graphics card, so I can run the AI, but I cannot build an AI. I guess you can kind of cheat and just like, I don't know. There's like two levels of AI building, right? You got the building the AI off of a previous AI, aka you're literally just giving the AI a context, and then it runs off of that context for you to give it more context to give you answers of that context. Or the real building AI, which is you actually build the whole node interface of an AI, which is a lot different. So yeah. How long have you been in the job market and streaming since when? I've been streaming for like, I don't know, 6 years, 5 years. I don't know. I'm on and off streamer. I only stream just because it keeps me on point of doing stuff. It keeps me focused, because it gives me a goal and such. But I've been in the job market in the computer science industry 3 years now, and I did IT, a little bit of IT for a year or two before that. And college, of course, during the IT / before that. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell. All right. Okay. I want this to work. We're gonna rerun. ls. I don't think this is taking it. Self.text. Why ain't it working? What's this debugger? Wait, is this something that ran? What's debugger saying? Line edit for implicit ready. Index 1 is out of bounds. Okay. I wonder if we need to like have this run. Oh wait, no, that would then be 0. Because we need this module to initialize after the other one initializes for onReady to work specifically. Can I like copy this? Copy the error. I'm sending this into. Just send this and see if it can tell me. The error message is telling you that your script is trying to access the child node at index 1, but there's only one child, index 0, available at that moment. Oh, we need to get parent back in there. Get parent. Haha. Yes. Let me put this back. Or actually no, we can keep that there. It can be 0. It doesn't matter because that doesn't affect its like look. Let's run this again. ls. Nothing. Nope, not working. It's not even doing anything. On submit. Wait. What's my controller doing? Unhandled input event. If event is input key and input key pressed. Event input key. If blah blah blah. Here, let's put some print statements here. Print. Executing submit for. Can I just put the focus node? Can I do that? Like this? Yeah, maybe I could do that. Let me do this. Print enter. We're just gonna do that. How does that work? There we go. Debugging 101. All right. ls. Unhandled input my butt. What the flip? Wait. Are we using this unhandled input correctly? Let me look at this. Unhandled input. Called when an input event hasn't been consumed by underscore input or any UI control item. It is called after shortcut input and after unhandled key input. The input event progress. think I think our issue is that we don't want to use this. I think we want to use like unhandled. Right? Do we just want to handle like input like that? Oh, whoops. Do you want to just do this? Let me try that. Let me try this. LS. Hoorah! We did it! Hoorah! Look at that, boys. Oh, yeah. Look at that. LS. It worked. PWD. Look at that. We smart. We smart. Everyone, clap. We did it. We did it. We made a terminal. The most basic of basic terminals. Oh my gosh, it's kind of fulfilling to do that, even if it's like this crappiest low whatever thing ever. How do you like change the look of this? I want to like change the look of this thing so it like actually like does stuff. I want to like make this much wider. How do you make the size wider? Oh, is it this? It's this, isn't it? You probably need to set this transform to be like the size of the screen, like fill the screen or something like that. I don't know. We did it. I think that's a good place to stop for today. I need to go and assist my wife because it sounds like baby has been crying a bunch and might need assistance or just a break, if anything. So I'm going to go handle baby. Thanks for all you guys for joining in. I'm trying to do one stream every Saturday, Sunday because, you know, I'm not working. I might get on later if I feel up to it. Else I'll see you all next Saturday unless I do a live stream during the evenings and the weekdays. But it depends on how like tired I am from work. So thanks all of you. Thanks Yash. Thanks Cafe Beef. Yummy Cafe Beef. And thanks Nino for joining on in this live stream today. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.